Borderlands as a series had been in a rocky state for the past few years. Borderlands 3 was a fun game, but the tone was just way off, that it's unfortunately remembered as a disaster. Nobody seemed too enthralled by the new Tales of the Borderlands game that came out a couple of years back, and then there was the movie. The less said about that, the better. So, a lot was riding on Borderlands 4, and matters weren't helped by Lord Randy doing what Lord Randy usually does. But I'm not someone that pays too much attention to outside noise in my videos. Borderlands 4 is a video game that released. I spent over a month playing it, and it is fantastic, and I'm going to tell you why. Playing Borderlands 4 feels like pure, uncut fun. It is the gaming equivalent of a firework factory catching fire. It's loud, it's colourful, and it's pretty dangerous for anybody standing too close. Every time you pull the trigger, there is a sense of impact. Enemies don't just die, they disintegrate, they combust, while shouting something insulting. It's cathartic in the same way bubble wrap is cathartic, if bubble wrap screamed when you popped it. The gunplay though, the gunplay! This is absurdly satisfying. Gearbox has always had a good handle on guns that feel good, but here they've clearly graduated to guns that make your brain release endorphins every 2 seconds. Every weapon feels pretty distinct. The pistols snap, the SMGs hum with rhythm, and the shotguns just go boom! Even the sniper rifles feel like they've been given permission to loosen up a little bit. And you also realise just how many guns there are. You find one that you really like, you get used to and you think, this is my forever gun, I will love this gun for all of eternity. And then 5 minutes later you pick up another gun, and then suddenly you forget what the old gun even did. You think, never mind, this is now my forever gun. The joy isn't in chasing the mathematically optimal loot, it's in the pure delight of trying something ridiculous, watching it blow a group of psychos into orbit, and immediately finding something even more absurd afterwards. The combat encounters are designed to keep you constantly moving. You are not crouching behind walls, you're sprinting, you're sliding, you're jumping, you're smashing, you're punching, anything you can. The pace is almost musical. Bursts of gunfire, explosions punctuating the rhythm, a reload here, a melee bash there, a grenade or a throwing knife there. It's the kind of kinetic loop that makes 10 minutes feel like 1 and 1 hour feel like 10. Each character class spices things up a little bit with their own ultimate ability as well. And these aren't polite little cooldowns, they are declarations of war. I played as Rafa, so I had these mounted cannons that would just melt absolutely everything in front of them, and they were just so fun to use. These powers don't just make you feel strong, they make you feel cool, and I feel like that's the main part of what makes Borderlands 4 feel so good to play. It just feels cool. And then we have the enemies. There is a surprising amount of different type of enemies. You will be mowing down chatty psychos one minute, then you'll be vaporizing alien wildlife the next. There isn't exactly a boatload of variance in how they behave, but the variety that there is still keeps the action a little bit spicy. Even when the game throws the same archetypes back at you, it is mixed up enough that your brain stays in a happy state of semi-chaotic flow. Now for the boss fights. They are fun, no question. Some are weirdly funny, others are these big thundering showdowns that make you feel like you've just walked into a rock concert. There is spectacle, there is scale, but maybe not always quite the level of spectacle that you would expect. You will still walk away grinning though, usually covered in loot. What really elevates the gameplay though is how playful it all feels. It doesn't matter if you're great at shooters or your aim is roughly cloud shaped, the game keeps feeding you little hits of joy. The crisp sound of a reload, the satisfaction when a critical hit lands, the way an elemental effect starts chaining through a crowd. It's responsive, it's generous, and it's designed for fun first, balance second. Logic somewhere much further down the list. When you sit down to play Borderlands 4, you do not need to grind for 200 hours to have a good time, although you definitely can do that. You don't need a spreadsheet, or a wiki, or a build guide so you can maximise every aspect of your character, although you can do that. What you can do is just pick up a gun, aim at the loudest thing on screen, and just watch everything erupt in a shower of loot, flames and laughter. The game seems to understand that sometimes you don't want to conquer a system, you just want to shoot people, and hear your character make a funny joke about it. There is a moment in your playthrough of Borderlands 4 where you will open up your map, you will see dozens of icons staring back at you, and you will think, alright, this one, I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to go and do something else. Then, it's 3 hours later, you never managed to even get to the thing you picked initially, and you've just done a bunch of other stuff. That is Borderlands 4 in a nutshell. It is the best kind of distraction, a game that constantly sidetracks you in ways that you just don't resent. The new open world structure is the series' biggest evolution in this game, and somehow it just works. You are no longer hopping between disconnected zones, you are inhabiting a sprawling, interconnected playground that feels alive with opportunity, chaos, and psychos who should probably consider unionizing. The game has mastered the art of gentle misdirection. You will set out to finish maybe a main mission, or maybe a side mission that you want to continue. You will spot a glowing exclamation mark in the distance and you'll think, oh, well, I'll just do this one side mission since it's on the way. And before you know it, you've gone completely off script and you're solving a side quest about a mysterious line of vending machines with codes to hidden treasure. That is a real side quest chain in the game. It is not forced, it just flows. Everything feels like it exists for a reason, even if that reason is just, we thought this would be fun. What makes the world design sing is how organic it feels. There is always something catching your eye. A random NPC, a suspiciously shiny chest. You're constantly tempted to veer off the beaten path, and unlike a lot of open worlds that punish curiosity with copy-paste filler, Borderlands 4 rewards it with charm and laughter. Every detour feels like you have stumbled into a joke or a mini-story that somebody, somewhere, cared about writing. And that brings me to the side missions, and I feel that these side missions are really, really good. They seem to strike the perfect tone between absurd comedy and actual word building. They are weird, they are sometimes heartfelt, but often more times hilarious, like little episodes of chaotic cartoons that you just enjoy watching. Compared to Borderlands 3, which sometimes leaned a bit too hard on yell the joke louder, Borderlands 4's writing feels more refined. It's still ridiculous, but in a way that feels lived in. These missions do add texture to the world, and sometimes little glimpses into how people on Kairos somehow survive. The map itself is split into 4 major regions, each with its own flavour and mood. You've got the sunburnt desert wastelands off to the left, you've got the forest area at the bottom that you start in, you've got a chilling snowy section to the right, and then a dense city in the middle. Navigation can get a bit, let's say, enthusiastic. Vehicles still handle like they were built out of leftover toasters, and the navigation line having a cooldown is a baffling decision. But when a world looks this good, you almost don't mind taking a bit of the rough with the smooth, even if that route involves flipping your car for the 15th time and falling off of a ramp or a cliff. The environments do pop with colour and personality. It's nice to look at. You find some outposts that just look like they were put together really, really quickly. It's unmistakably Borderlands. It's just running at a higher fidelity that finally matches the chaos in your head. Every corner of the world does feel like it was handcrafted somewhat, stuffed with secrets, jokes and loot stashes that make exploration feel like its own reward. In a lot of open world games, content is something to clear off a checklist, but in Borderlands 4 it is something you trip over. The game practically dares you to lose focus, and you happily oblige, because every time you do, you find another reason to smile, to shoot and to do it again. Now let's be honest, nobody boots up Borderlands 4 expecting emotional depth or subtle character arcs. You are not here to unpack existential dread, you are here to shoot a psycho's face off. Still, it's nice when a game about loot explosions and bad puns manages to tell a story that doesn't make you want to mute every cutscene. And thankfully, Borderlands 4 does deliver exactly that. The story might not be groundbreaking, but it is comfortably entertaining, it is occasionally clever, and blissfully free of Borderlands 3's screaming influence of villains. The plot does what it needs to. It gives you a reason to blow things up and look cool while doing so. There's a bad guy, there's a handful of side characters that'll help you along the way. It's all very Borderlands, which is to say it's messy, it's loud, and it's weirdly charming. The pacing moves quickly enough that you are never stuck listening to a 5-minute monologue when you could be doing parkour through war zones and shooting people in the face. Now, let's talk about Rafa. My god, Rafa. Playing as him completely changed the experience. His one-liners hit that sweet spot between cocky and hilarious, confident but not insufferable. He has this natural swagger that makes every firefight feel like an action movie and every dumb situation feel worth it because you know that he's going to comment on it. And whilst I want to reiterate that the story of Borderlands 4 is not amazing, it is not great, I do want to just make sure that I do also reiterate it is leaps and bounds better than Borderlands 3. So no, Borderlands 4 isn't going to make you cry, but it might make you snort with laughter a few times, and that is worth something. It is a story that understands its role. Its role is to give you a reason to shoot everything that breathes, grin while doing so, and maybe quote Rafa one more time before you reload. Now, in terms of the game going forward, if you wanted to know whether the game's endgame is worth grinding, or whether the planned future content sounds promising, then you have unfortunately come to the wrong place, because I am just not that guy. If you scroll through my channel, which you definitely should, by the way, like and subscribe, thank you, you will see that I play a hell of a lot of games. I am not someone that will play the same one for hundreds of hours. All I can say is that as someone who spent over 40-ish hours on Borderlands 4 doing whatever content I could find, I had an absolute blast the entire time. The game is just fun incarnate, and I know that I probably will be back for DLC or expansions or whatever it is that they do these days, because Borderlands 4, at its core, is simply fantastic. Borderlands 4 is a great game. It's a boatload of fun from beginning to end, with some incredibly smooth gunplay and a great sense of momentum, a world structure that just suits this series down to the ground, and a story that does just enough to grab your attention without annoying you. But that is all for now, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like, because it really does help me out. And if you want to see more videos from me, then you should consider subscribing, because I upload at least one video a week. But for now, that is all. Have a nice day, and goodbye.
One down. We're all good.